Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to another live learning session for the Flask tutorials. I'm your host, Yujin Tang, and here we have our Flask tutorial, our Flask blog, basically fully built out. You can go and you can create a post, new post, create. Yeah, I am awesome. Yujin is awesome, and you can go and change it. Um, uh, I don't know, like renewable energy is important. You can save it. You can see this change. You can edit the title, blah, and we can delete it. And we can log out, and we can log in, and we can log out, and we can register, test user, okay, and then we can log in. Cool. So that's basically all there is to this. Let's let's go back to the code. So in this part, we're going to make this something that you can set up. So, we have in our code, we have the creating the app, the authentication piece, the blog piece, and the database with this SQL command to create the database. So now we're going to create a setup.py. So we're creating this to make our app installable. This is something that you should actually start out with, but this is just where this was introduced in the tutorial. And I've already complained a couple times about the tutorial, so not that my tutorials are perfect, but anyway, you can always learn from other people. So setup tools, setup tools, there we go. Import, find packages, and setup. And then we're just going to create like the setup for how this would be installed. Version equals 0.0. Packages equals find packages. Oh, this should not be equals sign. There we go. Include package data equals true. And then install requires equals Flask. Don't think we need ashers here. So basically what this does is it creates a setup to have version 1 of our thing called Flasker. And it finds the packages for us and includes that data and then requires that we install Flask before we run anything. And then we need to give a file to allow Python to find the extra data, the package data. Let's see if there's anything for in. I don't think there's anything. What is this? I don't know what Leo is. Okay. Anyway, nothing really for this. So include Flasker schema.sql. Graph Flasker static /templates exclude global exclude startup PyC. So that excludes all the PyCache files, I believe. Yes. Okay. Let's see what manifest.in graphed command. What does that do? includes all the files under the directory. Cool. And I think, okay, so graph is probably for directories, and the include is probably for specific files. And excludes all the bytecode files. Okay. Now we can just install this this package. Is something running here? Okay, no. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to do pip install -e dot, or is it dot? Yeah. So that means that we're going to install Flasker as an editable file, as an editable package. That's what -e is. And now we have Flasker 1.0, and we can see pip freeze. That we have editable install Flasker. There it is. Now we can go test coverage. So let's install. So now we're going to run some tests. So pip install pytest and coverage. Now we're also going to create a new package in the parent folder, and we're going to call it tests. And now tests will take a data.sql file. This will be one of the first things that we do. We're going to test out what it's like to insert a username and a password. Insert into user. Values. It's telling me to use these like really weird password values. But we're just going to do this. So we're just going to copy and paste these values here. Obviously, I can't call this test, so I'm going to call this pytest. I already have a user called test that we made in our previous videos. And then we're going to insert into post, title, body, author, ID, created. So we're going to insert one thing in here. Let's do values. Test title. Test. Or x0a. So I don't know what that actually means, but we're going to find out. That's the or body by user ID 1. And it's going to be created on 2023 0105 at midnight. Oops. Okay. That's basically it for this file. Now we're going to create some other tests. Conf test.py. Import OS, import template. Oh, temp file, sorry. So this will allow us to create temporary files. Import pytest, import Flasker. So this is how we are able to run. So the only way we can do these unit tests is basically have Flasker as an importable file. So from Flasker import create app, and Flasker.db import this is actually not different from, just calling import Flasker and then calling flasker.createApp and flasker.db.getDB, but this just allows us to call these functions more easily later on. So now we're going to read in our SQL file. Ooh. Dir name, I believe. Yes. Dot join os.path dot dir name. File data.sql. Read in as bytes. F. So, oh yes, I'll put a link to private variables in the below, but this basically denotes that this is a variable that is private, but it doesn't enforce privacy. It doesn't like you can still change the variable, but it indicates to the user that they should not change the variable. The 1 underscore here. PyTest fixture. Path equals temp file .mk stemp, I believe. Yes, okay, yes. And then we're going to create an app. And we're going to pass in our config. And so this time we're testing a specific database. Okay, so I can actually make this test, but I'm going to call it PyTest. Of course, yeah. Unit tests should clean up after themselves and make their own databases. What was I thinking? App context. We're going to initialize the DB. And then we're going to get the database, and we're going to execute the SQL, data SQL. And then we're going to yield the app. And I'll drop a link about yield in below as well. Close the file directory for that, and db path. Wow, this is really well done. This tutorial. I mean, I've complained about it a little bit, but the testing actually is really well written to clean up basically your unit test stuff. We'll get the client, so return app dot test client. Did we do this here? Test config. Okay, so this is where we can probably do this. Let's make sure that we can still. This is fucking ridiculous. Okay. We'll see. Maybe there's some more paths, more things to write here. Dot fixture. Return app.cli test runner. Test CLI runner. Test CLI runner. I think these are Flask created. So actually what I think I'm going to do here is just do that. And that should still run. Yeah, okay, cool. Now we're going to create the test factory. So we're using the factory pattern here. I don't know if I've written about this, but if I haven't, I will. We're going to import create app from Flasker, and then we're going to do a test config. So basically we're asserting that we're not already testing the app. And then we're going to assert that if we are giving the testing app, that we are testing the app. Oh, we're going to, okay. Well, I guess we can test the hello world here. What is this? At app dot route hello def hello return hello world. I'm going to test the hello. Oh, this should have a client that gets passed into this. Assert response dot data equals hello world. Is that okay? Cool. Yeah. Just had to make sure. Now we need to test the databases. Test.testdb. Oops, that should go into tests. Yep, move that in there. And this we're going to import SQLite 3. And we're going to import PyTest. And we're going to import from Flasker. Cool. We're going to test getting and closing the database. So that's what it seems like. With app.app context. Sorry, we should pass the app into here. DB equals get DB. And then assert DB is get DB. So this should be pretty simple. Basically, we're just saying we're getting the database and we're asserting that it is the database. So let's see, pytest.raises. Sorry, raises SQLite 3.programming error as E. Execute. Select 1. And then assert closed. Should be closed in str e.value. Okay. Um, Now we're going to run another one. Oops. We're going to write another test. We're going to use a monkey patch, which basically allows you to replace an actual function with one that records that it's been called. And this is a PyTest like native thing. Fake initdb. So basically, we're just saying that it hasn't been called, but now if we fake initialize the DB, it'll be called. So our monkey patch dot set attribute. Oh boy, it's COVID. I'm dead. Oh boy. Oh, that's actually not good. I think I swallowed some spit. Invoke args equals a list init db and assert initialize in result slash output. So I think that's actually based on what we wrote here. Initializing. Did they write initialized? I think they might have wrote initialized. So initialize. So we'll write initializing in output. Oh. Initializing in results dot output. Okay, and then we're going to assert that the recorder has been called. Now we're going to go to the auth. We're going to test the auth. Auth actions. Oh, fun. We're going to create a class for this. That's going to be an object. Every class in Python is an object, I think. I challenge you to tell me if I'm wrong. 500 points to Gryffindor if you do. I don't know if you can tell me why. We're going to check in like the login. And it's going to be equal to one of the users' names that we use, PyTest. Password equals test. So I assume that they did a hash of tests, and that's how they got that hash. Now I have no idea how they found that hash and why, and how the salt isn't gonna be really changing. But oh, they made this a private attribute, which I guess makes sense. I'm posting a form to /login data equals username password. And then we'll see what logout looks like. And that's basically you should just call logout. Self.client.get /logout. Cool. Now we can test auth. I have a feeling this is probably the longest video we've made so far. Interesting enough, testing is one of the most important parts of coding, and nobody likes to do it. Actually, this should probably be here. .db import get db. Test register. So we've already done the integration tests, but it's important to do the unit tests like this as well. So we're going to get the auth/register, and we're going to make sure that our status code is equal to 200. Which just means that we can get to the page. Now we're going to test the response. Post auth register. Data equals username A, password A. So now we're registering username with password A, and assert response dot headers location. Basically, we should assert that the register brings us to the login page. Now, if we get the app context, assert get db dot execute. So if we select star from user where username equals A, then we should get fetch one is not none. We should assert that the user was registered. Now we should test that you have to register correctly, basically. pytest.mark.parameterize username password message. So with this username and password, we should get the message username required. I'm actually kind of curious if the double quotes, single quotes affects anything here. I don't think it does, but yeah, it might, you know. And we should get the thing password required. And then if we do test pytest show username already registered. It is already registered. Okay. And now we're going to test validation. username, password, message. And basically, it's going to be client.post /auth/register data equals username, password is going to be password, and then we're going to assert message in response dot data. Now we're going to test the login. So testing the auth is actually quite I should have made this its own video. I'm going to pause here to get a drink of water. Alright, back. Snack. Anyway. So we just wrote the auth piece. Now we're going to test the login. Right. Why is it? I did these wrong. Okay. So first we have to assert that we can get the login page. The status code. Login. Assert that the response.headers location is equal to the index. Okay, and now we're going to use the client. .get index. And we're going to assert that the user session, the session user ID is equal to 1. That means that we're using the first user, which is PyTest. Assert g.user username equals PyTest. You notice me switching between the single and the double quotes? It's because I'm an asshole. Anyway, we're going to do this again. Oops. This one should tell you that there's username is incorrect. It doesn't matter as long as the username is there. Username does not exist. Okay. PyTest, bytest, PyTest, bytest. Fun. And that should say that the user should say incorrect password. Remember, we're just testing for contains, so it's totally fine that we don't get the whole thing, even though we do in this example. Username, password, message. Response equals auth.login. And we're going to use auth pass username password. That's it. Oh, we don't need auth here, just username and password. Yep. And then we're going to assert that the response has the message. So assert message in response.data. Then we're going to test logging out. Log out. client and auth. So we're going to go to auth, we're going to log in. And then with client, sorry, client is not a function. With client auth.logout, assert that user ID is not in the session. Oh, I don't think we need is, just not in session. Okay. Yeah. So what is auth again? Auth is what are these items? Auth. Oh yes. Okay, it's this thing. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah. Okay. So I'm actually gonna end this session here. It's been like 35, 36 minutes. Usually I like to keep these under 30 minutes for these live coding sessions. So yeah, the next time we'll be testing out the blog part, and maybe we'll be trying to put this in production as well. So see you guys next time, and make sure you subscribe.